So, Avantika, nice to have you here. I think so. I cannot recall when was it that we really had the last classroom teacher-student relationship and interactions. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's an interesting piece of question because I think we'll have to go back probably 1.5 decades, right? So 15, like
2007.
15
I
years,
suppose.
I suppose.
Yeah,
Correct.
2007. You were in 10th probably. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So 2006 is when I enrolled for your classes,
Right.
and I was in 9th standard. So if I have to give you more hints, it would be Adya, Shalini Sharan, and a couple of guys from St. Michael's. वो वाला batch था.
Oh, okay, got the point. Yeah, because off and on we have been, through our talks and connected through, telephones and mobile and all. But it's nice to have you here. So, what was the journey next after 10 and 10th?
Yeah, so it was more or less on the same trajectory. I went on to do PCM and then appeared for engineering. I was preparing for JEE exams, IIT JEE, and then through AIEEE I got into BIT Meshra. And the coursework I selected was Electronics and Communication Engineering. And and there was one turning point where I was actually interested in the course. So I started enjoying electronics much like I did physics because it was very close to that. And yes, and then we had an Olympiad where I get to meet folks from universities of US.
Right.
And then some scientists from NASA JPL.
That's nice.
And that's when this thing of higher studies, and going abroad and doing higher studies clicked. And it was a calling, I would say. It was not only a dream or a goal, it was a calling. And so I completely changed my direction and started applying to foreign universities. I was late in my applications, but that's how it started. And then I got, I think, 4 acceptance, 2 from United States of America, 1 from Europe and 1 from Singapore. I happened to take the route which would not cost a lot to my dad. And so I selected an IC design specialization course offered by NTU Singapore and TUM Germany. And the entire coursework was carried out in Singapore. And then I had to do my research internship and thesis, which I did from Fraunhofer IIS Germany. And after that, I started preparing for industry experience. So I worked with an international company in United Kingdom, which designs chips for data centers like Google, Amazon, Microsoft. So I worked there for 2.5 years. And then this calling again hit me that, enough of, earning, and it was lucrative, it was really lucrative. So there's a myth around hardware engineering that only software folks earn a lot of money. Trust me, the physicists and the electronic people do earn a lot of money.
Right.
So it's all about the intellectual stimulation and the work you're doing. So yeah, and that craving for independent work and research started to drive me, and that's when I decided to pursue a doctorate degree from Silicon Valley. So Silicon Valley was my dream since 2013. That's when I met those people from NASA JPL. And as people say, good things take time. So it took me 6 years to convert that dream into a reality.
So nice to hear, Vandika, about that. And I could through your talks, I could feel that you could self-support and might be even go beyond that, that you could maintain the interest and passion about your study, knowledge seeking and other things, and at the same time you could self-support because it's a dream of many people, and there are some way they are going into a complex thought about finance and all, but when you are into a good field of knowledge and plus interacting with people who are into this field, you can find out a way where you can self-support you as well as you can pursue your dreams. Right then, but there is a deviation from physics laws which we studied in the classroom about this. Force is inversely proportional to distance square, isn't it? I think so. We all study physics laws, and I think so. In my classroom, probably we shared about this. The more the distance, the lesser is the force. But it was very surprising the teacher or student bond which you had with me, and most probably many of your teachers who have created an impact in your journey of your life. I could recall, and I'm very thankful that I got connected with you, because I could recall after 5 years after you did your 10th. One fine day, I think so, we were knowing each other through, social networking sites and other things, platform, portals, etc. But, suddenly on Teachers' Day at night, 12 o'clock, and when it is from 4th to 5th of September, there is a happy Teachers' Day wish from a student who is not my current student, and not recent current student, but somewhere around 5, 6, 7 years back. So, that gave me, a feeling that probably good teachers make good students, but trust me, you all don't know how much you contribute as students to formation of a good teacher. I owe a lot to be a good teacher, to be hope and dreams of a lot of people from a simple town Patna and state Bihar, that they go out to venture their dreams. So probably I would like to ask you this, that how did it all happen? Like, I want you to really narrate that incident. I would be very happy to hear that.
Like, I'm having a lot of goosebumps at this point, because, for you to come out and say that, students do play a lot of impact in shaping the teacher. It was just the opposite when I started pursuing your sessions, right? So I think if I go back to that incident, at the stroke of 12, I'm messaging you Happy Teachers' Day. I think that day was very reflective, and couple of folks, we were in Germany, and we were discussing, who has shaped the most in your life, like which teacher and what kind of habits you've picked up. So that's when these thoughts were constantly striking, and I've been very blessed, because I've had, at every phase of my life, I've had teachers and I've connected with them, and I've kept on with the connection. So when I pinpointed one person, it was you. And those were the foundation years, right? So if you get your habits and your foundation right, you can build anything on top of it. So it had to be you. And if I go back, how did it all start? So I still believe that there are teachers who would shape lives and then they would commercialize. But with you, what I observed through all the social media platforms, that you were constantly doing the thing out of correct intention. And you were nowhere driven by the commercialization aspect of education or teaching. You were genuinely interested in the student developing not only his skills but also his personality. The inspiration talks we used to have in those sessions in 2006 and 7, I can still remember. So all those who are listening, it's not only about the content a teacher delivers, or practice sessions, tutorials, etc. It's more about how inspiring he or she is to the student fraternity, and those are the memories you carry on throughout your life. So yes, I think I picked up a lot of good habits from the courses, from the sessions you provided, especially like
we used to have some fun also naming children with the
I think the naming part was fun, because based on the performance you would upgrade the names. I still remember I was a Chintu, then I moved to Girdhari rank, and then I moved to something else. Like, then I was called by my name. So all those people who are called by Chintu first, you have the motivation to get be called by your first name. So you should not take it otherwise. You should be like, it's a stepping stone, And
nice to get, because honestly I'm telling you that probably the thing, the personality development was, I think so, that in-house interaction in the classroom also were really something nice, because I saw you as a very simple student when you joined, but there was suddenly a propelling of skills, ability and confidence in you. What was there in the classroom? Can you pick up something where you got a little bit of change? Because I got to know later, I was asking children about who scored what. Are they told 100 in maths and science, and Shalini 100 in maths and science. But I was trying to find out some others, because it's not always the 100 marks I was looking with from you all. But good scores do matter. Okay. So I asked who was. I'm not able to recall, but something happened where I heard your score was very high. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I definitely recall, because I was like amongst the top 5, top 7 student in my class before I joined you.
Mm.
So before 9th standard, I was like that, like aggregate 86, 85, 87%. Right?
Mm.
And in maths and science especially, my numbers wouldn't touch 90s. It would always rotate around 84 to 88.
Mm.
So my dad, my mom was a bit worried what's happening. And when I joined your course, your teaching sessions, I was not very open-minded because I was like, "ये अब अलग से tuition करेंगे?" You know, being a nice student, why do you want a tuition? But then, what actually worked with me was it created it sparked curiosity in a very logical way in the subject, and plus, when you picked students to come up to the center and then solve the same questions which you had solved, let's say half an hour ago, what it did for a lot of underconfident folks like us, especially me. No, we would shiver initially, right? कि मेरा नाम ना बुला दे. And then I was lucky that I was not called for like a couple of months, okay? But then what I was doing was I was going home, and subconsciously what I used to do is within 24 to 48 hours of study sessions you are delivered, or the lectures you are delivered, I would go back and I would start to imagine myself that what if I am at the center of the class and now I'm teaching, right? So how would I discuss the topics, and I would write it down on my notebook. And that is one habit which I picked up and stayed with me till date for any subject. So I'm not sure if I call myself like extraordinary. I would say I had a above average IQ. That's true. That's thanks to my genes, my father. But I think the habits I picked up is why it was a consistent performance if you look at the past 10 years. So that habit was extraordinary. I think it changed the game for me.
I'm very sure that children who are looking at it, and teachers and parents who are looking at it, as a successful student, what are the things you'll point out probably that especially in the foundation years of life, when you're in 8, 9, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, what is that thing which a child should do to be a good learner? I'll not tell good high scoring student, but a good learner. What are the things a child has to do? What do you say about that?
I think a child needs to develop a routine around his own surrounding. So he or she has to bring in all his intelligence to carve that routine for himself. After that, your IQ should go away, and that learner ability, you know, if somebody is teaching you, you're reading, you should practice. But the intelligence part comes into picture where you carve your routine, your study habits. That's where you have to be watchful. So I knew that if I do this, I would not need to revisit the same topic again. So if I don't study within the 24 or 48 hours of a lecture, so I picked this habit from you and I carried on in my college days. And trust me, only 3 hours of study would yield me 9 or 8.5 CGPA, where others would like cram in a 10 to 12 hour session. So consistency, and then that subtle gauging of habits from different people, not only from your teachers but also from your peers, right? कि वो क्या करता है,
yes,
right? And then you try on your own, experiment, and then see कि नहीं मेरे setting में this is not working. So then I drop it. I'm not attached to it. नहीं वो यही करता है तो I will do the same. I will figure out a way where I can retain and understand the information presented to me in a manner that I can explain it to a 10-year-old. If I can do that, I'm doing justice to the subject, whichever subject I'm studying.
Yeah, you know, what happens is that probably making up the routine, you did not alienate yourself, you were not away from other things of life. And probably I will tell and suggest the children, parent, probably make a routine and habits in such a way that it does not appear pressure to you, because you know transformation of life from a student to a well-grown, groomed individual who has got love for society, nation, and for the globe, all over around themselves, people all around, like love for humanity, mankind. No, when you are into that phase, the changes which you want to bring in yourself should not be as pressure, acting as pressure. So probably in your routine might be even that simplicity of making your bed starting from the morning till at night when you are going, then having a good wash of your eyes, mouth, and face, and then you sleep nicely. All these things do serve to make yourself better student. I suppose I've seen that in a lot of students, and I think so we had shared a lot about our routines. That's so nice to hear. Probably very happy, and children, you should also try to take out the most from what we are talking, to frame yourself into a routine. And probably parents should be trying to also help out children to work out a routine in which it should not be only related to full fixation of your focus, eyes and everything onto just study table. But yeah, it should be nice, but your eye should also see far-sighted, and so something away and something near. All those things, the physical movements in your routine, all those things are very important. That means that daily habits also have to be done by the student themselves. So Avantika, the next question for you would be that how could you manage? People talk about distractions. आपको बहुत ज़्यादा deviations होता है life में, like a lot of people say कि अंदर से मतलब अंदर से will लोग कहते हैं कि will है, मतलब अंदर से बहुत will है, अंदर से करने का कुछ मन है, but what we do is we are not able to execute, and plans है बहुत सा, तो distractions बहुत होते हैं. लोग ये भी बहाना करते हैं, distraction को एक बहाना भी लेते हैं, बहुत सारे distractions है. तो distraction, what was distraction word was there existing, or was it there? How did you manage those things?
Yeah, I think distraction, everybody, practically everybody, be it my parents, my teachers, myself, and the current generation, everybody has their own set of distractions at their age. So probably for my parents, the distraction was the community, because people were bonded. We didn't have devices, right? So they used to be like, chal khelne, and like my father tells me how he was growing up in a village. With you, it would be some refined form of community distraction, in-person distraction. And then with us, probably by that time we had phones and laptops and computers and TVs, right? People were affluent. So electronics started to appear in the house. And now the biggest problem with current generation is the algorithm, the social media, the phone, the algorithm running behind. You cannot test your willpower with such distractions. So I will give you a personal example. Till 2016, until I submitted my master thesis, I was not on WhatsApp, I was not on Facebook. Occasionally I would check Facebook because that would help me find houses when I was moving countries. But it would be like once in a week routine. WhatsApp I had not installed on my phone. And I see my siblings suffer with this distraction syndrome, right? The biggest thing is you don't want to test your willpower, because the algorithm is designed to attract your attention. Why would you find a computer scientist, a psychologist sitting behind who has carved that algorithm, right? Instead, what you need to do is you don't need to get into that trap. You just say that for next 2 years, I am not going to install this app, no matter what. And stick around, carve your life around not installing that app, not using that app. So that is one thing. The other thing is you need to revisit constantly your goals, your milestones. So either sit with a teacher or a friend and discuss your monthly goals, monthly milestones for the bigger goal. So let's say I'm preparing for 10th standard and I got this motivation of starting on this journey, let's say 10 months before the exam. So my goal is preparing for 10th standard exam with XYZ marks, because that has to be explicit. How much percentage are you targeting, right? That's your goal. And then you break it down from there milestone wise, based on your strengths and weakness, right? So sitting, discussing with your teachers and friends, formulating a plan, and then accountability. I think accountability is the biggest part. That's where the role of a teacher, a mentor, a student comes into picture. I think subconsciously they do that in India. Foreign में ऐसा नहीं होता है. You yourself have to be accountable for many of the things. So, again, don't test the algorithm. Number 2, please sit and write down a journal where you put down your goals and milestones and ask someone to be accountable, your parent, your teacher, your friend, and then just stick it out. Prayers helps, you have to connect to the universe, universal power. Don't worry about gods and forms on religion. Just connect with the universe power, because it's manifesting things for you. And yes, so I think summary is this: exert yourself, right? I think I picked up that from you, because I remember as 9, 10 standard also, like you were very much into sports and I think bodybuilding, because that time we used to see like sir ko biceps hai. We used to talk this. So we didn't understand that time. Later on when I reflected, I realized that physical activity and working out is so important to keep your brain less distracted from the main goals.
To come to that point about I do feel that the physical appearance of a teacher, because I find that academics inputs to students do not serve very inspirational from my side. हमको नहीं लगता कि हम उतने अच्छे से डिलीवर कर सकते हैं जो कंटेंट और कॉन्सेप्ट्स ऑफ फिजिक्स और केमिस्ट्री भी, जब तक हमारा जो फिजिकल अपीयरेंस, हमारा जो तरीका है बोलने बातचीत करने का, हमारी पर्सनालिटी वो रिफ्लेक्ट करती है. तो लॉट ऑफ पीपल थिंक दैट लाइक लोग स्पोर्ट्स क्यों करें, लाइक व्हाई शुड आई गो फॉर, इफ आई एम अ टीचर आई शुड नॉट डू जिमिंग, I should not work out. I feel it's totally insane because I'm not going to any sports you take. I don't think so. स्पोर्ट्स को ऐसे पेरेंट्स को सोचना चाहिए क्योंकि ये खेल में अच्छा नहीं है क्योंकि नेशनल नहीं खेल सकता या बहुत कंपटीशन है. स्पोर्ट्स बहुत मायने में लोगों को हेल्प करते हैं. अवंतिका, हम उस पॉइंट पर जरूर आएंगे जहां पर मुझे लगता था कि मुझे मालूम है, मुझे याद है ना, whenever I'm talking to you, first your personality also as a person, I've always found you very energetic, and you're something into like physics. As I said, physics is a challenging subject, and then the topic or the topic of research of yours, it's about integrated chips and all those things. So it does need a lot of motivation, So how did anything apart from education, what was the other things which were foundation stone for your personality to be like this? It's always there is a radiance. Trust me, I do get a lot of inspiration from you all. So can you narrate this to can you narrate this to
sure.
listeners?
So I think subconsciously I picked up a lot of sports, and fortunately I was not I was restricted in that exposure of sports. Like my father was not really encouraging, but he was not someone who would stop it, like forcefully stop it. So I would hear a lot of demeaning and demotivating comments, but he would not stop it. So what I did is, right from early age, I think, to neighborhood playing cricket, to then in 8th and 9th standard formally coaching myself with the cricket, holding that kookaburra ball was a big experience. And then I played basketball, like really trained basketball back in school days. So I was from NDA, and sisters had allowed couple of trainers. Basketball court tha hamara bahut sundar sa. Uspe hum log, I used to go 1 hour early before the assembly. I used to train with those trainers. They offered me a state level game, but I think my father declined that. So that was okay. And then cricket mein bhi yahi hua. But then I don't feel guilt that I did not carry it to the national level or state level. I just played for the fun of playing. And chess, I think it was some super natural thing happening in my life subconsciously from 6th, 7th, 8th, and that led me to state level under 14 and under 16, where I won actually. So I was in this newspaper XYZ, and then my dad got serious and he said, "Ab 10th standard hai. You decide, it's chess or 10th standard." And then some of my relatives would very nicely introduce me ki milo mami se, like okay, and they would refer ki ye chess champion hai hamara bachcha. So it was that sort of kick. But then when my father stopped it, what I did is I rebelled. Naturally I rebelled. But I don't know how. I think it was again a divine interjection. I channelized that energy eventually in the next 3 months to liking something else, which was very close. And I think around the same time, I started attending your sessions, study sessions. So diverting from chess to maths is relatively easy, right? It's no brainer, right? So that happened. So I think that was school part, but then I never gave up with sports. Even while I was attending your study sessions after school, which was pretty taxing, I would be back home around 6:30, 7 p.m. and yet I would play. I would play with my younger brother who was like, in 4th standard or 2nd standard, and I would play with him. And my parents did not stop me. I don't know why, but I think that really helped to de-stress, to clear your head so that you can think then. And then it continued even in my college. So you can ask people in my college. I played a gully cricket, and they were surprised that ye ladki six maar rahi hai, so they never knew that I played sports. I was part of my EC, like branch, electronics and communication branch basketball team. I played for 2 years until I had a fracture in my ankle. So sports continued with me there, and then once I moved abroad, I started playing tennis. So that was a new revelation. I actually did not hire a coach, but I gave it a try to learn, and then I used to run. So morning running. So but running, morning walks, evening walks, deep breathing sessions. These things, I think, being spiritual and being aware of your mental and physical health is very important.
Yeah, that's very nice, because I think so during the COVID period we had talk, you were in US and I was talking to you, and I was finding everybody like it was something, COVID was putting us into a challenge of how to spend our time. We are not used to do what, and खेल काफी कुछ मजबूत बनाता है हमें अपने other fields में, our health, our personality, and probably COVID में वो लोग survive किए हैं इनके वो mental state उनका decline नहीं हुआ है जो sports में थे, क्योंकि वो बाहरी बातों से अलग वो अपने आप को बिल्ड करते हो जब स्पोर्ट्स खेलते हो। एक कॉरिडोर में मैंने देखा क्रिकेटर्स को जो कोविड के एरिया में, कोविड के समय में जब वो खेलने के लिए जा रहे थे, होटल के अंदर बंद है, तो वो लोग अपने कॉरिडोर क्रिकेट खेल रहे हैं, बालकोनी क्रिकेट खेल रहे हैं या बैडमिंटन खेल रहे हैं। तो दैट आई थिंक दैट हेल्प्ड यू अ लॉट, isn't it, during the COVID period, because you were locked in a room in US away from your family, and still when I was talking, I was seeing this always radiant Avantika, and probably your roommate had gone that time.
Yeah, so I was without any person in the house for 6 months in COVID.
Okay.
And it was tremendous in California, actually. It was a big lockdown. You couldn't go out in the streets, so it was only pertaining to your house, right? I think meditation also helps. I'm a strong advocate of meditating for at least 5 minutes. It changed my life since I think 2016-17, but if you can get into it early, I think it will change your life tremendously.
Okay, I think that we are coming into a very, very important part of the session. This is for standard 6 to 10 students, as well as students who have done well in their life. I always feel that I'm very thankful, Avantika, first thing, because all who are watching this, my students have been my students, and now they are into a successful journey of life. I do come to know that people and students from Patna and Bihar are doing very well. I'll try to put this into a very nice thing, that it's about sharing of wisdom. There is not arrogance of wisdom. Nobody takes a pride in you and just keeps quiet and commercializes things. It doesn't happen that way. So Avantika, when you came back after taking this study break, so I feel that you wanted to give back. So I always feel that this spiritual acts like donations and contributions and this and that is one part. I always see that when you are very secure, a small chunk of things you share with people, you feel great about it. But this, and then if you are good in your life, you don't share your wisdom, you commercialize it often. So I take pride in this, that just from out of nowhere suddenly you inspired me, because I'm going to continue teaching in better ways because of this inspirational thing which you have started. Probably we are getting more and more students to talk. So can you tell that what did really drive you, because you propelled yourself from a simple student to a person who is highly contributing now to the society, and especially uplifting the reputation of our city and state?
I mean, yeah, that's the thought itself like gives you a jolt, like am I is the question. But yeah, at least we are doing our bit in that process, right? I'm always driven by this statement which says, like, if you want to go fast, you go alone, right? But if you want to go far, you bring in people, you go together, right? And having seen the education in different countries, be it in industry, be it in research institute, and be it in academia setup, I feel it's so important to have that connect, right? And here, back in Bihar, we are still in dearth of so many opportunities, so many exposure, right? And if we have been the blessed one, seen all of that, why can't we come back and help in our bits and pieces, right? And I think part of that payback thought, it is always there with me. Right when I used to listen to seniors coming up and talking about their experiences in school or colleges, I used to think like, when I'll be on the other side, right? So that was just a child's dream, probably a glittery dream, being on the other side and addressing the people. But now I feel it's a big responsibility for us to fully make you aware of the opportunities abroad, in the country, and ahead of 10th and 12th, right? So a part of that payback mission is got to do with an initiative which I'm working on currently. It's still in stealth mode, but I have no qualms in explaining about it here.
Brief me about what you're going to do.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking is, just when I look at my own journey, I feel the role of mentors have been tremendous in my life. So at every phase, I would get a mentor. I mean, I would be in search of a mentor and I would get the right mentor. Because as they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And it actually happened with me. So then I realized that there are so many people, especially in Bihar right now, or even in India if you take up, they don't have correct network of mentors. They will have mentors who are like their parents, like their old uncles who have gone abroad or worked for big companies. But they want mentors who are younger. You are little elder to them, but still young, right? Because they have gone through the same rigors, the same decision-making conundrums, right? So
they will have a more current update about
yes, because life is changing in here so fast, right? The technology has really disrupted everywhere. So then the thought is, what we are doing in this initiative, it's called STEM Squadron. So I'm right now concentrating only for the STEM folks, science, technology, engineering and mathematics field students, and students who are in their undergrad in these fields, or who have recently graduated and taken up a job, right? So these are the potential mentees, and what we are doing is, we are connecting you to a solid mentor in your field who has gone through the same rigors and the same process most likely. And trust me, I have a really vibrant pool of mentors who have some excellent records, sitting in some international firms in abroad, but they are ready to give you time. And I think the mere fact that you will have a 1 hour to discuss with them about any career talks or any opportunities or any type of dilemma you're facing, you could talk to them. So this is a program where we sign up mentees, we interview mentees, the platform people like me. I will interview mentees and I'll understand what are their mentorship needs, and based on that I'll eliminate or select a mentor who is most appropriate to that mentee, and then I'll bring them together, and then bi-weekly we'll have one session. So this will go on until 4 months. So at the least you'll get 8 1-hour sessions with a mentor of that quality, sitting right in Bihar, sitting right where you are, right? And trust me, everything is available online. What you just need to do is correct guidance. So you're given all directions and then you have to work on it, right? So that's a small initiative where we're trying to pay it back to the community, to our roots. And I think our mission, I think both of us resonate on the mission that we want to increase the footprint of Biharis in the world.
It's a really very dedicated type of thought, and I think so. It's not only thought. Probably you know me, and I know you, and that this initiation came only, I think, 7-8 days, 10 days back. Correct. And we are into that. We are getting more and more people, because from students from Bihar, Patna, and like we are people, when we are going abroad, we are trying to embrace newness. We are trying to also, normally when we are, many of the students, they are non-commercialized thought. They want to have a hunger to serve than a hunger to earn. And things follow to them, and things go to them when they succeed. Next in and always we will have Avantika, you as a person who will be also talking to a few more students when we are coming. Next in our next episode, we are going to welcome Dr. Priyam Panjanan. He is a gold medalist in PMCH. Is MS Orthopedics, and is doing very well. And he extended his consent to come and have a talk about what was his school life. A few things here, a few punchlines which I would like to tell is that the pace, though it is important, but not as important as the correct direction, because once you are into it, you will go through it. All right. And also the routine, what I see is, when you have to be one, you have to behave one. If you want to be an IAS officer, you have to behave one. So what is the meaning of being a good IAS officer? It's like looking at everything, every aspect of everything. Like they look at a lot of things, and so you have to behave because you have to take control of things. What is needed where? There may be sometimes you have to help out at home. So that is also a good behavior. That means that value system is being generated in your daily routine. And that is what the daily routine should also be inclusive of everything. It's not only your study habit, but things which will physically move you, which will spiritually enhance you, which will affectionately bring you close, and then only you will go to a very higher state of successful life. Because to be successful, it's all right. Sound with, you should be very good with your finances, but very affectionate with your emotions, and very sound with your physique. That is all a good human being is, all being a good human all about. So nice, Avantika. I am so much touched with your gesture. Only thing I will say that we will stay connected, whatever happens, and most of you who are watching this, you can always connect with us. Thanks a lot. God bless all of you.